Guys.
Hey, are we just waiting for HCC?
I guess I'll be the one do the talking. Yeah. And I do we open up the video or no?
Um, I think this one is just only so for Discord stage, it's just only sort of like
Okay.
talking. Uh, yeah. So welcome everyone to the AMA with Teahouse Finance. So my name is Lawrence. I'm currently working business development at Perpetual Protocol. We also have Lee from our team as well. Uh, did you want to introduce yourself, Lee?
Hi, hey guys. My name is Phoenix, and I go by EMP Shockwave at the Discord, and I run and the Teahouse Finance with all my partners.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I guess I will introduce myself. My name is Jack. I'm working with Phoenix here. I'm mainly managing the community right now for Teahouse.
Nice.
Yeah, we're actually pretty excited to be here. This is actually my first time doing the Discord AMA. So feel free to ask us any question at any time. And I guess Lawrence is more experienced in doing this. So I'll leave the talking to Lawrence. Is it how it start or?
Yeah, so usually how these sort of go is like I'll ask first like a bunch of questions that sort of like have been sort of pre-prepared, but then after those questions are done, leave it up to the audience to ask any questions that they want to ask for either Tea House Finance or like maybe even for Perp, but hopefully mainly for Tea House Finance.
Hmm?
So
Sure.
yeah, so I guess my first question would be, what is Tea House Finance for people that aren't sort of aware of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, basically we are a concentrated liquidity marketplace and with our own high yield strategy. It's all based on the Uniswap V3, where you can actually change the price range to provide your liquidity. So we want to open up to the market as a marketplace, which made the best strategy wins.
Awesome. So I think that like sort of goes into nicely like the next point. So like, what are some of the differences between Tea House Finance and some of its other competitors in the space? I think you already sort of mentioned that you're sort of opening it up for like the best strategy sort of wins instead of like the team sort of mainly developing strategies. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the goal. But like, if you want to build a platform, we don't believe that you just open up platform and you just give tokens to both sides of the party. Like you give the token to the strategy side or you give the token to the user. We want to be able to provide strategy first to show to show our audience that it actually works. So we can hire or we can ask the other fund managers or the strategy providers to come onto our platform because we can give them user base. So we can grow our community by providing winning strategies and grow users. And with more users, we will attract more brilliant strategy onto the platform. So that's the goal. So compare that with the other platform. We believe that is we are open up as a platform, and we are currently providing the higher APYs to the other platform, I guess. Yeah.
Well, maybe I add a little bit on that part because you guys recently have an M&A with Visor, right? So in that idea is like they have created this another like Gamma strategy organization. So I think when we go into this concentrated liquidity um, strategy to how you provide better yield, then our struggle within our development team is really there's so many factors to decide it, right? And so what happened is really at the end we are building this, as Finney said, a platform, and we have this instrument, and for people who do what they good at, like say quantum trading, like quantum fighting, and getting all those factor into it. And for them, for on our platform, we will have a showcase for them to see who have the best strategy or who have the best performance. Then on the other side was the liquidity provider. Then you just go and pick your star player in some way. I may add.
It's all about enabling the strategy provider from centralized exchange to the decentralized exchange. Like because all the V3's features, so we want to be that bridge to actually bridging the fund managers and bridging the funds to the DeFi. And of course, we're looking to bridge all that into perpetual query, which is like we know is going to happen in the next coming month, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's definitely sounds like really smart and definitely very different to sort of the other approach that people have been taking for like this Uni v3 sort of market making. So I wanted to ask next. So like, what are some of the benefits of providing liquidity through Teahouse Finance versus someone's trying to like do it themselves?
Yeah, like you can do it yourself, of course, but if you provide liquidity through us, we will make sure to optimize your capital efficiency, which gives you the best APYs. Currently, our initial testing shows the results of 200 to 900% APY throughout the phase of the summer. Like currently, our product is already kind of in the closed beta testing, which is live on Arbitron 1 layer 2. And the APY shows right now at this space is like 150%, 150%. So if you can do it yourself and beat that, I'm definitely welcome you to become a fund manager and providing your strategy onto our platform so we can work together to attract more liquidity to the decentralized chain or to the perpetual.
Yeah, awesome. And so when it comes to fund managers that want to provide these strategies on Teahouse, what sort of tools do you plan to make available to them?
Yeah, so basically because like that's why we want to do not only a platform, because when you actually do the strategy, then you know which tool you need to provide to the fund manager to actually develop such strategy. So we provide the real-time market simulator for your backtesting your strategy to show your strategy can perform like in a certain time interval, like how much APY it will achieve. So you can backtest this strategy. And we will provide the RESTful APIs for interacting with our smart contract, which is a TiVo. So you don't need to write smart contract. You just need to port your strategy from, say, Python or R. So we can actually operate a smart contract for you. So then your strategy should be proprietary. That's why to help you keep your strategy proprietary. So yeah, I think that's the main tool we provide to our fund managers, which is they can keep their strategy proprietary, and all the other tests and the connection to smart contract is taken care of, and everything is auto. Yeah.
Awesome. Can you go a little bit deeper into what like the T-Vault is? I think that's something that's like definitely really interesting and sort of really differentiates you from like competitors.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do, because like when the fund opened up the vault to attract funds, attract liquidity to make money. So you want to provide the we call it a T-vault. It's a vault to attract and to hold funds in a smart contract, and it actually acts like an ETF. So it will just like distribute the winnings to the share of each funds provided into this T-vault. So yeah, so it's not that hard to. It's pretty necessary to have this instrument for the other fund manager to put in, so the user will know their fund was governed by the smart contract. The fund manager cannot rock them, and it will have the clear analytic data for the user to see how this fund perform, and for the fund manager themselves, their strategy will not be exposed into this smart contract. So yeah, so that's the basic idea of T-vault. Currently, the T-vault is already running for Uniswap v3, and it's running on the Arbitron 1 layer 2. So we are already in that. Everything is on right now. Yeah.
Awesome. And now I just wanted to ask, like, what are some of the risks you see when it comes to providing liquidity in sort of Teahouse Finance and like maybe broader like Uniswap v3 for people that aren't really aware?
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting time to be in here in the space, because V3 is kind of very a new ideas into this decentralized change. We see so many studies like to talk about like how to provide a lazy strategy or a more active strategy. Like, and ourselves, we believe the strategy should be active. Hence, like we constantly changing our price range to provide the most capital efficiency liquidity to the DeFi, which has a Uniswap v3 feature, which is currently only Uniswap v3. It's gonna be on the Perpetual v2 query, right? There's only two, and people sometimes don't know. The question is, how do you set the price range right? What's the optimal price range, the ticks you want to provide? Is it too wide? Is it too wild? Then you don't have that much fees. If it's too narrow and if the price will drop back out to your price range, then you won't get any fee. So the problem of setting the price range, which is the kind of like the know-how or the intelligence here, for the risk involving this, I believe you have to have a hedge or the strategy to see like what's the token pair you provide. You maybe want to hedge it outside, or if you hedge it inside the strategy, your range should be wilder, something like that. So everything, that's the Teahouse intelligence. We taken care of this. So that's why user should be providing their liquidity at ease with our T-Vault, which is no security issue and with a higher APY guarantee.
Awesome. That sounds really great, actually. And so now I sort of wanted to ask now, why Perpetual Protocol v2? Like, why sort of like building out in Curie? Like, how does that make sense for Teahouse Finance?
Yeah, because Yan-Wen's just sitting right there. Like, we're all from Taiwan. He's just like the building away from us. Yeah. We know Perpetual like is pretty well, and Perpetual is doing a pretty good job by catching up with this v3 features, right? And actually, because we do believe that the liquidity should be provided smartly, and the Perpetual v2's VAMM, which can actually enlarge your virtual AMM into like 10x. That makes the best strategy win more. So that's why we want to be able to deploy our strategy onto Perpetual Curie at the very first moment to see how do we actually perform. So we can actually optimize our strategy to make more yield. So we definitely would love to work with Perpetual, and definitely if you guys are willing to provide liquidity through Teahouse to Perpetual, I believe we can do something great here. Yeah.
Definitely. And so how will your strategies compared to sort of just on Uniswap v3, how will they sort of be different when it comes to deploying them on Perpetual Protocol v2?
Perpetual actually have different smart contract. Like the smart contract is somewhat different than Uniswap v3. And currently it's all excitement because like I believe Uniswap v3 is currently testing their fee structure at this moment. It's the 0.3% or the 0.05%, which one gets the more optimized results. So we all want to figure it out. And we are gonna have that experience. We're already accumulating this experience and intelligence, and we will move on to that, construct this the new strategy with Perpetual, with our past experience on Uniswap v3, so such that we can provide a better optimization to Perpetual Curie, because it has 10x feature. So if we made a mistake, it gets 10x mistake. So that's why we want to play the major league here with Perpetual.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Also, now I wanted to ask, like, when are you guys sort of planning to launch Teahouse Finance?
Yeah, this question has like two aspects, because we already launched with a closed beta. Like we can see how our position perform. Otherwise, it's just only look on the paper. So we want to see actually that how does our strategy perform currently on the Arbitrum 1. And we're going to max out the Uniswap v3's position next week on Arbitrum 1. It's the volumes there is not that big yet. So I think we're going to max out the trying to provide the most efficiency the capital. So we are kind of online already, but we are not open to public yet because it's all closed beta. So we're kind of trying to generate more data point, generate more result to show the public says, hey, we are actually legit. Hey, the APY is true. It's not like we just claim to be like that high, something like that. We do plan to open up to public with Perpetual though. So that's why we have this AMA, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really exciting, especially because sort of the APYs, they're like insanely high. So like if someone could sort of get that on Uniswap v3 liquidity providing, that'd just be awesome.
Yeah, the problem is though, if you see this APY, it's actually capped. Like you cannot provide in, say the APY is 100%, so you provide like 1 billion, 10 billion, $1 trillion into it and expect to get such return. It's not gonna happen. It all depends on the trade, the ratio of TVL and the trading volume in the trading pair. So like we have to add liquidity accordingly and slowly. So that's why we don't max out our APY. So you can see that's why we didn't open up to the general public at this moment. So it really depends on the cap. So that's why we do want to launch a pioneer program with our early adapters. So if they were willing to risk, they were willing to experiment with us. So we want to open up the pioneer program so people can provide a certain amount of capped liquidity with us, so we can see the joint result to see like it's actually doing like as we claimed.
Awesome. Can you sort of like go into a little bit more depth about what the Pioneer program is at this point, or?
Yeah, like we have a liquidity provision program. It's like if you provide liquidity through us, we will kind of have some kickback or some token to the general public. But right now, at this moment, we do thinking about like if you get we do have an NFT going on to trying to design. Like if you have our NFT, so we can our vote will just recognize your NFT, and so you can provide liquidity through it. So it's more like a membership things we're trying to deploy by the end of the year. So it's gonna be on around like December, somewhere in December, sometime in December. So that's basically we are trying to do at this moment because we do see the problem of the cap at this space currently. But we do actually see this space will bloom, will have the more trading volume and more liquidity onto this V3 feature, the concentrate liquidity feature with Uniswap, with Perpetual, and other swaps doing this strategy.
Awesome, that's definitely very exciting. I just wanted to ask a last final question just from me is where will Teahouse be in 2 years?
That's actually a really huge question because like 2 years ago, Perpetual was doing the accounting stuff. I believe, like if you can ask Li Shaogang, like 2 years ago, like Perpetual just started, and 2 years is like Perpetual become a necessity in DeFi. So 2 years is like in eternity. It can achieve so many great things in 2 years. But we do see ourselves can reach this level with Perpetual by providing the tools, the platform, the insight, and all round the cross-chain everything to the strategy marketplace. Because we do believe in such future where the providing liquidity is not passive or just like you just put the money in and harvest the token. You want to be more providing liquidity with more insight. That's why we believe Teahouse Finance is gonna be there with the DeFi. So we want to just like Perpetual is there with the DeFi space. So we want to provide the whole three of the tools and provide the highest API and provide and become the great protocol with a very large TVL, which all the people can have the higher APY here and build a brand of ourselves, just like Perpetual protocols.
maybe I just add a
So
little bit.
is that good? Is that kind of answer the question? I'm not sure.
No,
Or you guys
maybe add a
asking
little
a
bit.
2-year
Yeah.
roadmap or?
So I'm for this one, and my point, like for the community wise, is like we really like at the beginning we provide that idea of we want to be a welcoming platform, right, for the strategists or people who are good at math in some way. Like you can able to have the freedom, and you don't have to have that burden of I don't know how to build a smart contract, but I have a great way to putting all those like performance marker and making a great strategy and making a great projection, right? So we really want to have that tool, have that fundamental infrastructure ready for people who have the ability, like say all the great university will have like competition and all that, and to have that ease, the seamless, frictionless experience for the strategist provider. And as what Phoenix was mentioning at the drop out. As Phoenix was mentioning on the side of this liquidity provider, then they we have that all the auditing and all the hedging things already figured out, and they just on here and pick the best performing stock and just have their money in and safe, secure, and don't have to worry about is this a rock pool and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, awesome. That definitely answers the question. Like, yeah, both of you guys pretty much answered it like fully. So yeah, that was actually really great. Definitely like a really ambitious project. So we have a few questions from the audience. First of all, we have one from Toxic Potato who's asked, "Will you release a token?"
Yeah, we will definitely release the token, but when it's like we all want the token launch to be successful. If you think about ENS, ENS is a project like 2017. We all got our domain in 2017, and they released a token in like yesterday, which is like a phenomenon token release, right? So we all want to have a successful token release rather than as soon as possible token release. That's why we plan to release our token. I think Q1 or Q2 next year. I think that's a fair amount of our preparation to have a successful launch. We don't want to rush and say, hey, I'm gonna release like next week. So we want to be able to show that we are a legit platform with a high TVL. Then we release the token. And the token will have utility rather than just trading.
Yeah, that's definitely sounds like a really good point. So another question from the audience is from Mir. He's asked, how does having off-chain strategies help improve APR versus fully on-chain rebalances?
Yeah, the problem of the fully on-chain strategy is the strategy itself is the on-chain strategy has to be simple. Otherwise, the blockchain, the computing power of blockchain, or the problem of the blockchain you cannot ask the blockchain to compute the entire our code base for our strategy. So the on-chain strategy is sometimes, and most of the time, they are pretty simple. They are rebalancing themselves. They have a wilder price range. By wilder, I mean they usually we measure the range of a price range with like ticks. So usually the rebalancing strategy for the passive rebalancing strategy, the tick size is the 4,000 ticks. Our sales is like 300. So you see there's like we are like 10th of their width. That's why our capital is like 10 times efficient than their capital. And you cannot do that much calculation from on-chain strategy, which makes your make your strategy passive. And an on-chain strategy can be front run. Like if I see a strategy doing this way and I can actually look into the strategy, says, that's how I do it, then I'll basically do it myself. So we want to provide an off-chain strategy which can be more sophisticated and it's more like secure and more proprietary this way. So that's the differences, which provides a more APY. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And so for people in the audience, like if you want to ask a question as well, you can type it in the AMA questions, you can also raise your hand and I can invite you guys on stage to ask a question. And so we have another question as well from Jay Faradian and has asked, are there any upcoming partnerships with Teahouse Finance?
That's asking Perpetual, right? What's the partnership with the Teahouse, right? Is that the question?
I think it's are there any others as well, or is Perpetual sort of like the main one right now that you can sort of reveal?
Yeah, the problem is like we built on this V3 strategy. So the partnership has to be has this feature so we can build strategy on. That's why like it's currently Uniswap and then Perpetual. We are really focusing on this strategy. We are not a passive yield aggregator which just like everywhere. So we want to be more focused on providing the V3 or the concentrate strategy with Uniswap V3 and the Perpetual V2. And if you by partnership, if you mean investor partners, then yeah, definitely we have many. We have like a lot of VC investments, and we have like I said, the NFT partnership coming up. So definitely. But if you say the strategy itself, currently it's Uniswap and Perpetual QE.
Yeah, definitely that makes sense. And I think adding on to someone's previous point, we have Shogun who's asked, are you planning on doing a fair launch of the token? I'm not sure if you're able to sort of go into detail about that, but yeah.
We already invested by the VC, so by definition we're not a fair launch, right? But we do have 60% of the community ecosystem token to the general public, which is majority of the token will be to the general public. So I guess that answers your questions.
Yeah, that definitely answers the question. And so we have another question from Funny Blue, who's asked, what is the risk of using active strategy compared to sort of passive investing for liquidity providers, like in terms of impermanent loss and etc.?
Okay, that's actually a really good question, because when you have a really active strategy, the impermanent loss is not your problem. The problem is your swap fee and your slippage. Because you keep on changing your price and you keep on changing your liquidity, the composite or your liquidity. So you keep swapping your liquidity, right? So you are basically cost yourself by paying the swap fee, and if the position is too big, you are also paying for the slippage. That's the problem. So you wanna have the Teahouse, the specialist can help you calculate this all out. So our APY was deducted all the fees. So they come out with this APY. So basically that's the insight, a little bit insight of doing an active strategy and a passive one. Because passive one, you just sitting there. You don't swap that much. You swap like once per 5 day or per week, or yeah. We can adjust our swap frequency can be adjusted to the climate of the entire chain. Like currently the gas fee is too high, or currently the volatility is too high, so we don't want to swap that much, or our position is too big, then we don't want to swap that much. That's the parameters you have to be considered when doing an active strategy. That's why like this space is still new, it's still exciting. So we are welcome like everyone to get to know more about how to do an active one. Yeah. I hope that answers the question though. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe let me add a little bit on, because in recent community, like I see, Young Wayne's publishing a lot of question about like the impermanent loss, right? So because our internal team, we also discussed about this issue, and that's why we have other tool or other parameter to manage to hedge to this risk. Because like what Finney was saying, that if you're able to rebalancing more frequently, it's you're actually chasing the price. Actually, it won't hurt you as much as the swapping fee. That's when we study, and this is how we found. And the other way is like we also in our internal team that we have different strategy in some ways. That when we see the volatility when it's go high, then we go ahead and we widen the range. We make it to cover that volatility. So in some way that impermanent loss won't hurt you as bad, but in some way this is a very true issue, like really hard challenging for what we are working on, and this country regarding model and was able to rebalancing as much, right? So but we are trying.
Actually won't hurt you as bad, when you have too big of the position and you swap them with slippage. It won't hurt you as bad as that one. That one is the main problem, because when you have like $10 million in one pool and you swap like $1 million per transaction, it kind of you have to take like 2% slippage sometimes. 2% slippage is like, it's like 3 days, 1 week's gain, and you choose like giving that away and thinking about doing that like 2-3 times per day, then all that money made is gone. So basically the question and the problem we tackle is the slippage and the swap fee, and that's be controlling the swapping frequency, something like that. So that's the intelligence we acquired at this moment.
And one last point, maybe I add, because that Twitter fee was like we were following that in quite recently, because again, like it called impermanent loss is like when you come on, you give it a period, like a set of time, right? So if you look at the price change of one of the pair, one of the token, then you compare to that, if you just hold them and how much opportunity cost I'm losing, right? So some of the people were saying like if we are in this game for the long term, right? So if you go into that, then we're able to go and chasing the price and we're making the correct prediction. And really that's what Finney was saying, like he didn't think impermanent loss would be too much issue on our end, at least how we are doing our strategy now. But that's also our internal discussion that in the future maybe we'll have a different strategy to hedge more towards that part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome, because that's definitely been like a really hotly debated issue when it comes to Uni V3 like LP returns and optimizing them. So yeah, sort of like got a bit of context for that as well. The Yenwin has asked a question. There are many talk on crypto Twitter that point out how hard it is to compete with impermanent loss. And the link was a tweet from Nate Hinman, who's working on Bancor. And so the question was, do you think dynamic or active LP strategies can fix this? And yeah, definitely answered that like really well. Yeah. And another question now from the AMA is from Jay Faradin again. And he's asked, how do you think that concentrated liquidity strategies will work during a bear market?
Yeah, so basically the idea is like if Ethereum goes down by 50%, no strategy without hedging position will work. The problem is this. So you will, if you think that Ethereum price will go down like to the bear market, like suddenly, it's like a sudden drop, then pretty much not that strategy will survive. But if you talk about the steady low or steady volatility, I think the active strategy will be your best play in your bear market, because the price is kind of within range. It can be within range high or be within range low. Doesn't matter, as long as there's a trading volume. As long as the trading value, the liquidity provision strategy will make you money. The worst case is like you provide liquidity into Uniswap, but there's zero trading value there, and you make zero money. So the problem is not the bear or bull market. The problem is the trading volume. If the Ethereum can go down, say like to 1,000, but the trading volume is still like big or still compare reasonable to the recent days, then I think the liquidity strategy will be your best friend compared to just put the Ethereum there and waiting to it grow to like 10K. Yeah. So that, I hope that answers the questions.
Yeah, definitely. That definitely answers the question. And we have another follow-up question from Toxic Potato, who's asked, will you guys be offering like a stable APY product where you offer like a fixed income and take a risk part of the yield? So an example of that would be like an APY of 10%. And if you earn 12 to like 2% is a net profit for Teahouse, or like any other sort of stable APY product.
We do. It's actually really good. I'm sorry to interrupt, but because I actually understand the question, because that's the product we are all looking for. Because right now the APY for just like lending Ethereum or lending BTC is kind of low, right? Or if you do auto farm, it's like 3-4%. If we can provide a 10% stable APY, then that'll be perfect. We do look into that, and we probably wanna develop, because we want to gather as many as intelligence possible at this stage. So when we are confident of providing a single side token product, which we can we will definitely bury the risk of such token just go down or such going to go up. Then we'll kind of launch this single token product with the community, because we do understand that's the people are looking for. You want an ease of mind. You don't want IL. You don't want anything. You just want to see you put 100 Ethereum there, then in a year you get 110 back. That's easy. So definitely we'll look into that. I think this is a really good question, and it's actually speak of the mind of the community. So definitely it will happen. Yeah, but it really depends on the climate.
Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. And I think that answers pretty much like also Shogun's question as well, which is like the plans on making single-sided vaults. Yeah, and so the next question is from Chin Yusu, who's asked, will he develop a strategy for alt tokens? Like, for example, Ribbon, who seems to do like large volume on sort of decentralized exchanges, but haven't been listed on centralized exchanges yet. And so I guess to follow on that is like, what sort of tokens do you plan on listing or providing you can provide liquidity for on Teahouse Finance?
Yes, that's actually there's actually another great roadmap for Teahouse, because like people currently focusing on the pair of Ethereum and USDC because we see the most TVL and the most trading value there. And of course, you want to test out at this space. But eventually, we will move on to the long tail token. It can be anything. It can be Doge and Ethereum. It can be anything. And we provide the market making strategy from our experience we learned from this Ethereum USDC to actually set up a reasonable price range to help a long tail token and alt token grow. Yeah, so it's pretty much it's been done in Binance or FTX, like market maker providing liquidity to the Launchpad product or to the any IEO project. So we want to be able to become that protocol, become that team to actually provide the long tail token when they do IDO, to provide market making strategy for them. But that's the goal, right? And so you want to gather more experience and insight to deal with such a more volatile token, of course, right? It's compared to Ethereum, it's more volatile. So we will definitely move on to it. I think it's a really good question. Yeah, and we'll definitely look into this space.
Yeah, awesome. Like that definitely makes a lot of sense. And also, so we have another follow-up question from Chun, who's asked, any hedge to avoid impermanent loss?
Like when we talk to our liquidity provider, or we do ask the other, like the funds, some of them are borrowing us money to help us play around with our little experiments. Like you can't really hedge inside this Uniswap V3 liquidity provision, because you do provide liquidity. You pretty much loan them. So if you want to hedge them, then you have tons of ways to hedge, to buy, to sell Ethereum perp, right? You can sell Ethereum perp, or you can do some OTC method. And all other guys we're currently working with have like tons of knowledge on hedging. So that's why they want us to keep on providing the best possible outcome APY inside the concentrate liquidity field, and in the same time they'll do the hedge themselves. So if you do worry about your exposure in Ethereum, the way you can do it is you put 90% of the Ethereum you want to expose with us, then we'll provide the APY, and the other 10% of Ethereum, so you can definitely hedge somewhere else from selling Ethereum perp or anything to do so. Eventually, we will come up a comprehensive product, so the general user don't need to worry about a hedge. And that goes back to the previous question about the single token product. Like you just provide a single token. So basically, that means we were gonna hedge for you. Otherwise, we're gonna lose money ourselves. So it all comes these two questions are the same question. It's like if you will be able to hedge, then you will be able to provide a single token product. That's the idea. Right now, all the liquidity providers they are hedging themselves, and they don't want to hedge because they believe the Ethereum will go down.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. We're still like sort of
Yeah.
in like the middle of this bull run, so yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. So we have a question from Daniel, who's on the Perp team. He's asked, since as the maker on Perp V2, you can create long or short positions, how do you guys plan to handle it? Do you just close the positions when removing the liquidity to realize the P&L immediately? Because this feature is quite different to other platforms. Curious how you guys handle it or backtest it.
Yes, so that's the actual difference between Perpetual and Uniswap v3. So when Uniswap v3 does it, just like the description Daniel said, it's like if you want to change the position, you have to close it and open up a new one, which costs you like 4 move and costs you like it's actually costs us like $40 on layer 2. It's actually a lot. So Perpetual is doing another way to deal with this contract, so it can actually you don't need to remove the position and realize the P&L. So that's why we kind of tweak our little bit smart contract with the Perpetual as point. And our smart contract is getting audited at this moment. We already have their feedback. So definitely we'll look into the differences between Perpetual and Uniswap v3. That's we currently working on. And we'll make sure everything is stable and everything is good when we're online with Perpetual. We've already got like tons of like testing USD with Perpetual. We ask Lee all the time, and hey, help us. Yeah, we'll definitely provide a good strategy to it, look into it, great insight into it.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds like pretty great answer. And sort of like when it comes to sort of like audits and bug bounty programs, what does Teahouse Finance have like right now, and sort of like in terms of security that like users can sort of feel very safe about?
Yeah, so for the security part, so basically we actually follows the Perpetual protocol towards the security, their way towards security. Perpetual protocol asks their market maker to finish up 3 steps with their security clearance. First, they want us to run a bug bounty program with Emulify. We'll definitely do that when we're online. Run the bug bounty program. Second, all the smart contract has to get audited, and we have the auditor's second feedback. We run it with hash code. So yeah, it's definitely work on. And third, it's like you have to buy insurance for the liquidity you got. That's definitely gonna happen, but we don't know how much will cost that yet. So we believe that's a really good question because we all concerned about our money in someone else's vault. So if we follow the standard which Perpetual raised, I think that's pretty much the golden standard right now. You can't do any better. Like bug bounties, auditors, and insurance.
Right? Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that definitely answers the question.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you for those like very kind words. So yeah, if anyone else has any questions, I see one sort of being typed out right now. If you don't want to type it out, you can sort of raise your hand as well to ask any questions. All good though. Did you have any questions, Lee?
Hey, sorry. Not right now. Yeah, everyone asked really great questions. I didn't think of any so far. Well, I guess one thing I'm curious about is how to become. Am I correct in understanding that Teahouse will have like fund managers, or is that something that's not open to just everybody to join?
Yeah, so we fund manager. You mean by the strategy providers, right? Basically, right now we don't open up to anyone to become the fund manager. We want to be able to whitelist the fund manager because you don't know how does the strategy perform, and we don't ask the fund manager to give their strategy to us. Of course, right? The strategy should be proprietary. So basically, right now we develop our strategy, and we are talking to some current DeFi, some guy on the DeFi funds to work on the fund manager deal with us. So if anyone has an interest, please feel free to contact us, and we will see how do we work on together. So we can provide the tool to them. But it will happen in Q1 next year. We're currently backtesting all the tools like we're working on. Yeah.
Okay, so that I guess that would sort of be the differentiator between you and something like D-Hedge.
Yes. And
All right,
especially
sounds good.
D-Hedge didn't work on the V3, so we are actually really focused on V3.
All right.
Awesome, thank you. And we have another question from Chin who's asked, have you considered making a pool that lets users deposit assets like leverage farming in sort of a way?
Yeah, so that's like the further up question about like how do we utilize T-Vote, like what we discuss about T-Vote. How can T-Vote acquire different access into one vault and provide general APY? That currently for security issue, we do not want to compromise or to complicate more about our smart contract, because in our standing of security, we want our smart contract to be as simple as possible. You just collect money and just collect a certain money. So you don't collect some random asset and without chain link, it may kind of creates problem for the economical hack to your vault. So currently, we believe that if this process did not help or greatly help our APY, then we won't like consider them as long as it actually does help the APY or the community says so. But currently, if you see this way to do so, basically you create more vulnerability to your smart contract because you take more random assets, right? Is that understanding the question? Like,
Yeah, that definitely sort of answers the question.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, I think we have a more like a specific question in regards to comparisons. So Nick has asked, how does Teahouse compare to Visor? Like, I think more specifically.
At this point, we say we have higher APY, and at this point we say they're currently on the Ethereum mainnet, and we are on the Ethereum layer 2. So our strategy is more active, hence create more APY. But if you stays on the mainnet, you have to be more passive. Otherwise, every transaction takes you 15 minutes or costs you like $500. That doesn't make sense. So right now, we believe and our openness to the providing tool to the public. So basically, that's the three differences and our option strategy.
Yeah. So maybe just add on a little bit. I think one of the issue that we decided to go on layer 2 right away is we realized that the gas fee and swap, every time you rebalance, it can hurt you. And so when you go back to lots of the mainnet strategy, and they will saying like the rebalancing times like once a day or at least like 12-hour plus, right? So those kind of things, either way, they're profit. So either way, they're APY. So when we look at it, if you want to see it like how good our strategy and stuff, but we're able to do more rebalancing or to compound back our fee earning back into it. It's really the low gas fee on L2 really helps. And so I know because they bring out Visor and amazing. They of course they're looking into going to Arbitron and stuff. So I think and they have more pay than us. So we have to say because they start earlier than us. But eventually we got there and I think we made the right call at this spot. Then we just go ahead deploy on L2 first instead of just paying off those high gas fee and we're thinking it's gonna get higher. So we are looking at like 1/5 of the cost at least compared to mainnet L2.
So I just wanted to follow up on the fund manager part. So what sort of incentives are there to be a fund manager on Teahouse? Do you guys like have sort of like a fee split in mind or some other ways to sort of incentivize becoming a fund manager?
Yeah, basically become a fund manager at Teahouse means that you can acquire more users, acquire more funds compared to you just trading with your money or your friends' money. Because when you want to acquire more funds from the people you don't know, then you need to have the instrument to do so. T-Vault is an instrument for you to help you acquire the money you don't know, and so you can with ease of mind to do so for both sides. So basically, that's a really good incentive to, because if you do more larger position, of course you will get more money, and you will provide revenue share at your choice. Like you can provide any, because we are the open platform. So if you want to do any kind of the revenue share with your customer, as long as you state it in the description and you do that in the smart contract, then everything's fine with us. So we give them more freedom to the fund manager for them, as long as they. So we want to provide the freedom. We want to provide the instrument to the fund manager. That's why eventually people will get on board with us.
Yeah, awesome. That definitely answers the question. So we have another question from me is asked, when public beta?
I'll ask that question back to Perpetual.
Maybe that's the sneaky way for Phoenix to do it. But we got people asking this all the time, because like when Phoenix was mentioning when we're at our final phase of our auditing, so we really don't feel comfortable to have this, and I don't think it's fair for the community and others to just open up and just pile in the money and stuff, right? So we want to do our due diligence, and we want to be have that confidence when that is ready.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think we have one more question from Chun, who's asked, do you consider yourself more like an asset management platform or Uni V3 strategy?
It's an asset platform on Uni V3 and on Perpetual V2, so it really depends. Currently, it's Uni V3 because it's only protocol with this feature. But eventually, we believe because the liquidity have to be provided smartly and more efficiently. So eventually, you will see tons of swap have this kind of feature, and we will deploy ourselves into those swap. From our perspective, we definitely want everyone have this concentrated liquidity feature, so we can utilize our strategy more. So yeah, so right now at this moment, so asset manager or management or V3 strategy, I think it's both.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. And we have another question from Shogun, who's asked, how are you ensuring fund managers can't sort of like rug pull the funds, and what sort of measures are being introduced to sort of avoid this from happening?
Perpetual standard. So it's the T-ball will have the bird bounty program and the auditing from the auditors and the insurance we have to buy.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Yeah.
Maybe I can just ask a quick follow-up on that last question. I'm thinking maybe what Shogun is referring to would be like, will there be like a multi-sig that controls the vaults, and like who will be holding the keys for those and things like that?
Oh, the fund manager will holding the key, but it cannot take the money out as long as the token from the user to exchange money out. But they will have the operation to actually buy and sell the certain assets within the protocols. Like you don't want the fund manager can create a Phoenix token and just dump the money in and just sell and just pretty much like buy share token and Rocky. So basically, we want to be able to confine the operation with the fund manager. That's why we don't open to general public to become a fund manager. We want to be able to whitelist it. We want to open up gradually. We don't want to just be too fast, open up too fast, and eventually one rock will just ruin everything.
Okay, thanks for that.
If someone has a speaking request as well, just pop your hand up. Oh, hello, Death King.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sorry for the bad connection. So I have a question that, see, the fund manager.
Oh, I kind of lost. Wait.
Yeah, you might have cut out. Sorry.
Sorry. So so my question is, the fund manager is going to be whitelisted, right? But whitelisted by whom, right? Is there a user has a freedom to vote for the fund manager, or it's the user doesn't have any freedom?
That's the one utility of the governance token of T. So user vote.
Okay, so the more user gonna vote, it's gonna be whitelisted as the fund manager, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we're still discussing the best practice of this, because like you, we are really concerned of the we don't want scammers, we don't want people rock us. So we, like you, we do care about this process, and we'll try to develop such best practice for actually for the fund manager candidate to actually become one can operate our vault.
okay, thanks. And once the fund will be allocated to the specific fund manager, is there going to be any sort of restriction that he can the person cannot use all the funds which has been allocated to him, or once the person will get the key, he can just spend, like, use the fund, right? That's what the concern is. That the
Yeah,
thing.
the fund manager should be able to access to the fund to his vault, not us, but to
So
his
yeah,
vault.
definitely his vault, but he can access 100% of allocated to him, right? And straight away in
Yes,
first go. Okay,
yes,
so
that's the idea.
what will be the insurance? I mean, what will be the insurance that the fund manager won't rug pull, right?
So basically, the insurance part that we have to discuss with the Perpetual, because that's the product we have to buy. So even though we can do for software parts, we can try to keep our smart contract simple and keep the assets simple. Like they don't have the right to access to the unlimited access. That's why you just create a token to dump it. So we want to be able to make sure what kind of strategy this fund manager provide, and provide a certain tool and certain privilege to this smart contract. Then within that range, that's 100% of freedom.
Okay, and like, for example, the fund manager is generating a profit, right? So the user who voted for that specific fund manager will get more APY, or it will be the standard.
So that really depends on the fund manager's performance. If you are the best performer, then you will get more funds, and the user will get more APY. And if you don't, that's why the platform will kind of have a competition, have a trading competition by itself. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks. This all answers my question. No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, if anyone else has any questions, I think it's like sort of closing up now, but if anyone else has any questions, just make sure to raise your hand or like ask in the questions part.
I have a quick question. So you guys said that you're based in Taipei, near our office. So when are we going to have a meetup?
We do go to Perpetual. I actually steal Perpetual mask all the time. We go to Perpetual's office and steal their mask all the time, and eat all their pizza all the time. So yeah, we actually have a DeFi study group hosted in Perpetual's office every month. I go there every month with some of my partners and meet friends and discuss what's the trending subject in DeFi. So definitely, we if you go there, we'll see you there, and you can eat Perpetual's pizza and steal their mask with us. Yeah, definitely.
How did I miss that?
And their mask is actually pretty decent. I'm considering just buy from them. Yeah, Perpetuals actually go to shop at perpetual.com. They actually have all the merchandise online. So actually, you can buy all those like cool merchandise right now. I have a whole bunch of it on my office.
Perpetual's merchandise.
How much are we paying this guy? This is great.
Yeah, that was a legendary plug, actually.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm at the Perpetual office every Monday, so I hope I can see you guys there sometime.
Sure, definitely. Monday, right? Okay.
For sure.
Yep. I never got any pizza though. I'm not sure what's up with that.
Yeah.
And we can bring the pizza.
Yeah, let's bring pizza. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. It looks like there's no other questions in the AMA channel. Lawrence, do you want to wrap it up?
We actually have one more person that's put their hand up, actually. So I'll invite them on stage first.
Real quick, thank you again for the AMA. Learned a lot. I was curious. Last question is going to be, what is Teahouse's finances marketing strategy moving forward? I know you guys are slowly rolling it out. You're going to be whitelisting for fund managers, but what's going to be your overall marketing strategy moving forward to get more adoption?
Yeah, basically, because we do have the institutional partners already contributing to this project, And right now, our goal is definitely want more public to join in Teahouse protocols. So by the end of this year, we're gonna launch our NFT, which is our membership program. Like I said before about the cap, we're facing the problem. So we want to able to give out or sell this NFT to our early adopter members. So if you have this NFT, there's a certain T-Vault you can access and provide funds to enjoy this higher APY. So you are definitely seeing us to start marketing to the user and public side, not to the institutional side more, because we do have this NFT program coming up in no time. So definitely look for us. We are easily reachable. Our problem is like we're kind of not as active on Twitter and Discord. We do see that's a problem. So definitely go to our Discord channel and communicate with us and me and HCC with HCC Jack. So definitely will help. Definitely, I say too much. Definitely. So just help us to grow as a community.
Yeah, that'd be on me. Like, I think Infinity is just throwing the ball back at me. I guess really, the thing was struggle. We started with a relatively smaller team, and we have this struggle with like we're doing content marketing, or we should focus on more like community building, have events and all that. But really down to the core, we are keep throughout this AMA. We try to be like we want to do our due diligence. We want to make sure that our strategy have a real performance to show, right? Before we move on, because we really believe in go back to the product itself. When it's good, when our performance is good, and that the community will spread the word. But again, don't be shy. Come and talk to us, and any suggestion we're taking it. And again, like we want plugging for our CEO. Like we're hiring, so go to our group. I think we tweeted about it in our Discord groups too. Check out some of the job and everybody.
Definitely we're hiring and we're hiring worldwide. We do have friends in California. We do have friends everywhere to help us, just like Perpetual. Perpetual have friends in China and in Australia. So definitely we do want to grow as Perpetual. So definitely help us so we can grow together. Okay.
Thank you for answering the question. I appreciate the information.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think that sort of wraps it up for this AMA. Definitely want to say thank you to Phoenix and Jack for coming on from Teahouse Finance. It was really, really great for you guys to be here and talk. Did you guys have any last words maybe for the audience? Anything maybe finally you wanted to plug or?
Yeah, so the Perpetual's founder Yan Wen is always asking if our APY is true or not. And we are always asking when can we test it out on Perpetual QE? Is it better than Uniswap or not? So eventually we will find out in the next coming months. So yeah, definitely stay tuned.
Awesome, yeah. So thank you guys for coming, from the audience especially, and thank you to Teahouse Finance for coming to the AMA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that pretty much wraps it up for this AMA. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. Thank you. I had a great time actually.
Yeah, it was definitely
Thanks
really awesome
for
AMA.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
The audience too. Okay, bye.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.